Good evening and welcome to a special night of ASWSU election coverage here in Studio A on Cable 8. I'm your host, Joe Carreras. We originally had a debate scheduled this evening, but due to a recent judicial board decision, we will only be joined by the remaining ASWSU presidential ticket. Here to talk more about the board's decision is the election board chairman, Colin Moravec.
He can't run by himself just because he's a solo ticket. You can't add anyone else onto his candidacy because the executive tickets declare together. They can't declare separately. They both turn in the same piece of paper with both their names on it. So he can't necessarily pick up another candidate to run for him, with him.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
So how about just turning to the election now then? Can you tell our viewers, when actual election day is and maybe those locations where they can actually place their vote?
Sure, yeah. Election day is March 5th and 6th, opening at 8 a.m. on March 5th and then closing at 8 p.m. on March 6th. The election board will have a election table in the Cub. We'll have a couple computers there. It's all online. You can vote at studentelections.wsu.edu. So it's pretty self-explanatory at that point. But we'll have a table there. We'll help ask any questions, or if anyone has any questions, they can come to us. We can help figure out any other electoral processes that might not be figured out. Obviously, if it's not working, we'll figure that out really quickly and fix it. And then we'll have some snacks, and we'll be giving away some stuff too as well to hopefully have a good voter turnout, regardless of who's running and who's not running.
Sounds good. Sounds pretty easy. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll be hearing from the remaining ticket, Taylor Hennessy and Kevin Massimino. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Taylor Hennessy and Kevin Massimino are the remaining ticket for ASWSU President and Vice President. Their Win the Day campaign focuses on involvement, interaction, diversity, and Cougar pride. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. So I guess first question is, can you talk about maybe your reaction when you heard the judicial board's decision today?
You want to start?
Yeah, Taylor and I found out just as same with everyone in this room and the rest of the campus. And I think the best way for us to describe it in one word would be unfortunate. Being a ticket and that I've been running a campaign and talking about the ASWSU election for a little over a year now, we realize how much hard work and dedication and time goes into something like this. So, and a side note, we know Jake and Harrison personally, so we feel for that. But aside from that, we like to just focus on our campaign and moving forward with the election. There's still many Senate battles being figured out for the election, so I think that's where our focus is on.
Okay, and some of our viewers may be wondering if do you guys still need to get like a certain amount or percentage of the vote, or do you know how that works?
We don't need a certain amount or percentage. It's essentially we just need to get more than the write-in candidate would essentially get from there on out. We're still working with our campaign team that we've had thus far throughout the entire election and making sure that we're still going out, doing the balloting, making sure that we're passing out flyers. And really we want to help not only our ASWSU election still be successful for those candidates that are running for Senate, but also just making sure that we are fully covering our bases from here on out.
Okay, and so can you talk a little bit about maybe some specific changes that you guys would maybe want to implement from this year's ASWSU administration?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of things that go from year to year, especially with different tickets and administrations that you keep. But a few of the changes we're focusing on, I would say specifically fall in the realm of diversity. We would like to kind of go the route of getting encompass more student groups within our diversity and our multicultural centers here. So one thing we'd like to do is specifically for student veterans kind of retool the Alive process and make it more applicable for them. So.
And I think one of the things that our campaign came in with, just to kind of highlight, is that ASWSU does a lot of things really successfully. This last administration brought back our legislative efforts and kind of the way in which we lobby in Olympia, and so we want to continue to build off that. And for us, that kind of starts with what we do with our presidential lobby days. We want to go over there, and we found so often that it's not necessarily what title you have, but how you use it. And so setting up meetings with key legislators, making sure that our voices are being heard as students, and then rallying voices from our other campuses and things that we can all get behind as students.
Okay. And I know both of you guys are pretty heavily involved in Greek life. I was wondering if you guys could talk about maybe some of your other qualifications that make you guys right for the job.
Yeah. In fact, I'll actually introduce Taylor. So Taylor has been involved, he's currently a senior political science major here, but he's been involved in several different aspects of the university. Started out as a freshman joining the Beta Theta Pi chapter of the Greek system and went on to kind of serve as the IFC Director of Scholarship and Service last year. Aside from that, he served as an orientation counselor for the past 2 summers, and then he's also been involved with ASWSU for the past 2 years as a senator, this year as the pro temp. So.
Yeah, and I'll introduce Kevin. And I'd like to just highlight that part of the reason why I think we wanted to run together was that we felt like that we complemented each other really well and kind of our backgrounds, not only our personalities, but also the different things that we've done. But Kevin's been involved from his freshman year with Sigma Phi Epsilon, as you mentioned earlier, which is the men's fraternity on campus. But from there, he felt like he wanted to get more involved and went out and started a little bit with athletics, which he continues to this day. And then he's also been highly involved with the Presidential Student Advisory Board, and that deals directly with students' concerns and what they're having at the university to this day. And he's also been the chair of that board, who works on getting the agenda set, making sure that the students' concerns are being met, and relates that directly to Allison Floyd. And from there, he's also been on ASWSU. That's actually how we met, on the 41st Senate. And then this last year, he's been working as the executive director of Student Life.
Okay, a lot of things there.
Yeah.
Can you guys briefly just talk about, with all that experience, how you guys plan on imparting that to the student body and maybe increasing involvement in all these things and opportunities that WSU provides?
Yeah, and I'll start. I would just say, and something kind of a theme throughout our campaign that we've mentioned is that, experience really isn't worthwhile unless you do something with that experience. So throughout all those different avenues, Taylor and I feel that we've been able to connect with a large amount of students, especially his experience being an orientation counselor for 2 years. We've been able to connect with almost every corner of the university, and that's something we want to continue to grow. And a few ways we'd like to do that, one in particular is kind of in our involvement factor of our platform. And one thing you'll hear from us a lot is that you only get a set amount of time here in Pullman. So we want to make the most of that. And one of the ways we can do that is through some fun programming events, including whether that's a rivalry with the University of Idaho next year, doing some sort of event with that, centered around our homecoming game in September, or whether that's trying to break a world record as a campus. We feel we can bring a few aspects like that.
And then one other project that we'd like to highlight is something that's been kind of a keystone to ASWSU the last year. It's our Career Success program, and that's something that we are really proud of, and that's a lot of the work has been done by both Kyle Erdman, who's the current president, and then Adrian Gonzalez, who's been working very closely with that. And so we'd like to continue that program, but essentially what it is it's an interactive program for students that are coming in, made by students. And so we surveyed a lot of different students, asked them what their best highlight of their collegiate career was, and we wanted to include that and make sure that other students were going to be included in it as well. And so it's kind of interactive, it's almost like the bucket list idea, and kind of going through and making sure that we're hitting that. Part of it centers on academics, another part of it is student life. It could be something where you might go out in the community and give back, whether it's community service hours or raise a philanthropy event or organize something along the lines of that. But we're very happy with that, and we'd like to see that grow.
Sounds good. Well, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're actually going to have some questions from our studio audience for the candidates, so stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're joined by our ASWSU presidential candidates. We're actually going to bump to the studio audience and let them ask some questions. So if we could, can you just state your name, please, and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Erin Osgood, and I just wanted to know, why do you think students don't generally vote for ASWSU elections in the numbers that you would like, even when there are multiple delegates, and what do you think you can do to improve that for the next election?
Thank you for the question, Erin. I think oftentimes it kind of centers around students, and you can say this about any general election, but I think it also stems from just making them think that we don't really have a say and that their voice really doesn't matter. One of the things, just being in a democratic system, is that we need feedback, and that's what Kevin and I are really passionate about. Part of that's through voting. Students, hopefully that they would be well-versed in what we want to do and kind of our platform and where we want to take ASWSU as an organization, but hopefully they can come through and relay their concerns as well. I've sat down with multiple students, and there might have been a little bit of a disconnect between what we were actually doing and a little bit of language clarification there. And then I also think advertising from sometimes, it can be confusing how you do it coming in as a freshman. I actually didn't vote until I was a sophomore. Heck, I didn't even know ASWSU existed until I was a sophomore, to be honest. But I think that that's something that we could really improve on.
And just to add to that, Aaron, I would say we've had a unique and fun experience this year by having the chance to interact with so many students through debates. The election board, RHA, the Council for Multicultural Student Presidents, and even today here with Cable 8, we've had an opportunity to connect with students and really interact with them. So I think that's one thing that will really help us get more voters out on March 5th and 6th. So thank you.
Sounds good. I think we have time for one more question from the audience.
Hello, gentlemen. I can go. Thank you. I'm just curious if you have any plans for the summer on how you will prepare for the coming academic year.
Perfect. Thank you, Kevin, for the question. Yeah, actually, we do. I have actually made the commitment to stay, if elected, throughout the summer and attend every Alive session And Taylor and I think we can do throughout the summer is being able to connect with the freshmen right as they get here on campus, being able to show them where current resources are, and really just to explain, the student experience and the limited time they'll have here on campus.
And we're also kind of talking a little bit about what we're going to be doing in the upcoming, so look for that. It'll be in the Daily Evergreen if we get, I guess when now we get elected, but kind of take a peek out. We're really excited to share with you some of our ideas, and we look forward to doing that here in the future.
Well, guys, I really appreciate the time. That is all the time we have for tonight. A special thanks to Taylor and Kevin for joining me, as well as Colin Moravec. Remember, Election Day is March 5th and 6th, so get out and vote. I'm Joe Carreras for Cable 8 Productions. Have a good night.